What's going on, guys? We're at the Upper Works Trailhead and we're going to do Mount Marshall today. I haven't really been able to film all that much hiking content or even really hike all that much. This weather this summer has just been terrible. When there hasn't been torrential rain, there's been wildfire smoke. So we're finally out here. It's a much cooler morning than it's been for quite some time. We're in the upper 40s right now and it's a little bit past 6 a.m.
All right, we're gonna take a look at the low water crossing here. That's one thing in the Adirondacks that you can't expect is a bridge in a lot of places. It's a very, very rugged landscape. So this is Calamity Bridge, or I'm sorry, Calamity Brook. I think I'm gonna go the high water. Right here, it just does not feel safe. We got a lot of rain lately, as I mentioned in the introduction. Yeah, we're gonna go to the high water route. Now I realize I did just contradict myself, but you can't always expect a bridge, is what I'm saying. You know, a classic example is Marcy Brook. You're gonna cross that a lot in the 46 and there's not a bridge that you're gonna go over. There's one earlier near the dam, if I recall, but there is a mandatory water crossing with no bridge. So we're gonna take the high water route. Better safe than sorry with how strong the flow is on this stream right now. So here's what remains of a ladder. The last two peaks I did actually were Cliff and Redfield, and I remember this. This was less than fun. Not too bad though once you get your footing. Coming out to this bridge. Now, if I recall, that rock over there is very slick. It doesn't look like it, but it is. Oh, actually, no, it's not right now. Okay. Anytime there's moisture on it, though, it is. The last time it came through, it was really slick. All right, after slogging through a complete mess of mud, we're coming out to this memorial I didn't stop at last time. I'll leave a link in the description about what it's all about here. But holy cow, this mud is terrible. Anyways, I can't read it from here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do a little hop on the other side here. All right. I don't want to walk all the way up to it because this is completely flooded. All right. This is a monument erected by vital affection to the memory of our dear father, David Henderson, who accidentally lost his life in the spot September 3rd, 1845. From what I remember, I read about this a little bit before this. He was out here with a guide and his young son, and they were going on a bird hunt. And I think a bird was flying up over the pond here, and he went to take a shot, realized he didn't have a shot. Or I think he handed the pistol to his guide, actually, who then realized he didn't have a shot, so he was going to put it back and however David was carrying it, and he accidentally left it cocked, and an accident happened that fatally wounded David. And it's like really sad. His young boy like watched everything happen. His last words were like, you know, be good to your mother or something like that. I'll leave the whole link in the description, but yeah, it's really sad. So this is why this is Calamity Pond. That's why this is Calamity Brook Trail, because obviously it was a calamity. The other thing is, like, I think they did bring the body back to town. I know he was one of like the leaders behind the whole settlement, and again, I'll leave links about all this stuff if you want to read up on the history. But I'll tell you, I mean, it's not exactly a cakewalk walking to the memorial, you know, I mean, it's easily doable by hiker standards and all that. It's, you know, but, you know, very, very rugged terrain. And I mean, carrying a body all the way back to town would have been absolutely ridiculous and obviously sad. You know, obviously you want to give the guy a proper burial, but my goodness. That just would have been really, really difficult. All right, so what you see peeping through the trees there is called Flowed Lands. It's a really neat name. It sounds like something that would be out of like Lord of the Rings or some like fantasy book I read as a teenager. Really, really cool name. So you're not gonna believe this, but this is the trail. This is what's known as a herd path here in the Adirondacks. Some of them are in better shape than others, but they are normally very, very narrow. They are also not maintained by the DEC, so at least not officially. I'm not really too sure why, to be honest, but there actually are quite a few high peaks that are herd path trails. Some of them I know off the top of my head: Tabletop, Redfield, Cliff. Those are the last two that I did. This one, Marshall, Iroquois is one as well, although Algonquin and Wright are actually DC trails, and then it just turns into a herd path. But Street and I are as well, and I believe there's a few others. But one way to tell, well, number one, there's no trail markers, and then number two, when you're at the summit, there's a wooden sign. None of the summits that are DC maintained trails have wooden signs on them. Herd path ones do. So that's some fun high peaks trivia. Thankfully, it's easier to follow here. Just back there, that pine grove was, oh my goodness, that was really overgrown. Makes it feel like you're not even on a trail, like you're on a bushwhacker. You made a wrong turn. Wow, this is gorgeous. Wow, that is beautiful. Well, that was funny. After thinking to myself, this mud actually isn't too bad, I went into a spot where the mud puddle almost swallowed my entire boot. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is a mistake. So I go backwards and briefly get my footing, then go into another mud puddle and somehow lose my footing and fall backwards. So that was kind of fun. It's always a fun Adirondack High Peaks game to play, which is guess how deep this mud puddle is. And I don't even know, are we on the herd path right now? All right, I gotta figure that out. Okay, we found it. I just had to turn around a couple times. Not really turn around a couple times, but just kind of spin around and look a little bit. I'll tell you, that's one word of caution that I'll give a lot of you. If you're using an app like AllTrails and stuff like that, don't take their time estimates for these high peaks seriously. There's a lot of factors that you're not gonna think of, you know, like overgrown spots on these herd paths. I can tell you my pace on a herd path is a lot slower than a DC maintained trail. It's just typically a lot more rugged terrain, and navigation, well, not impossible, it's worn in pretty well in most spots. I mean, this right here is obvious that it's a trail, but you're gonna run into a couple of places that you're gonna be second guessing where the trail is, and that's gonna be something you're gonna have to take into account in terms of time. So I always start these wicked early. You know, I got in my car today by 4:30 a.m. Number one, to get a parking spot, and then number two, just to have enough daylight. So while the navigation's been a little confusing, I'll tell you, this is a gorgeous trail though. It really is. All right, still trucking along here. really, really slowly. But I mean, look at this terrain. This is, camera's gonna flatten it out, but yeah, this is really, really rugged. There's blowdown everywhere. Ton of trip happy roots and all that jazz. So I'm not complaining, I'm just saying that, you know, again, the time estimates that you're gonna get on these apps and stuff are assuming a lot better terrain. I got a wet sock on my left foot. I did bring a spare, but I'm not too worried about it right now. There's a stream crossing, or there's actually a few stream crossings, and this one was like over bedrock, and I was pretty nervous about it. So I did my typical get low and just hang on to things and got my foot drenched. So really, I'm thinking if I'm gonna do any sort of sock change, I'm probably just gonna do it on the way back after I make it across that, because I feel like I'm just gonna drench another sock anyways if I do that, and then I'll just have two drenched socks, so it won't be that helpful. But yep, this is where it definitely becomes a mountain here. All right. This is not a sight for sore legs. Thankfully we don't have sore legs yet. We're at about 3,500 feet right now, and the summit here is 4,360. So the plan is that we're going to make it up this trail, the Herbert Brook herd path. We're going to get to the summit, eat some lunch, and then around the other end, if I'm feeling up for it, which hopefully I will be, I'm going to go see the airplane wreckage. So there was a flight that went down here in 1969, and the guy survived thanks to a ranger that was able to basically tell this entire High Peaks wilderness like the back of his hand. So that'll be neat. All right, so quickly approaching 4,000 feet. There's the brook from earlier. Terrain's a lot nicer, honestly, right now, which is very, very pleasant. And then we gotta cross it again. There we go. But yeah, it's really leveled out. Not everything wants to prick, poke, and stab me, so that's always a plus. Well, we weren't supposed to cross it. I ended up losing the trail again. So we're back on it though. But man, that was pretty vague. I didn't see much of any indication that I was going the wrong way. It was really, really worn in where I went, so a lot of people must have done that. All right, we're at the final push here, which is nice because I unfortunately went into a spot that I had no idea was that deep of mud, and I was up to my knees. So as I said earlier, that's part of the High Peaks. Guess how deep this mud puddle is. And sometimes you're the loser. But thankfully it's a clear day. It's dry, so hopefully I'll dry out, but I'm still having fun regardless. I was wondering if and when we were gonna hit a slab. All right, a super long one. It's doable though. It's definitely not as spooky as Cliff. At least not so far. All right, I believe this is what is standing in the way of me and the summit. For a brief second, I was like, don't tell me we're going up this. But then I realized we're going up this. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of this tree. Oh, great. I don't want to do yoga. All right. Actually, let's just go here and go around. Oh, jeez. Man, someone's really got to call the landscapers here. I just just didn't want to get too personal with that pine tree down there. Oh boy. Okay. All right. All right, made it up that. All right, I saw a little hook in the trail. So hopefully, I think I'm still going the right way. I don't really know what's good with that hook. Must have just been someone that was looking for a spot to go to the bathroom or something. So I believe we're about here. Oops. I don't see a sign or anything. That's weird. There's a lookout here. Where the heck is the sign? Huh. Well, let's take a look at the lookout first, I guess. All right, I mean, not the best view, but I knew that going into this. Oh, I'm on the other side, that's why. Okay, I'm blind. There it is. All right, 27 of 46, Marshall, standing at 4,360 feet. Let's go to the overlook. Oh yeah, this looks a little more overlooky. And yes, I just made my own word. Deal with it. Cool. All right, so we're off the summit now and got ourselves a protein bar, some electrolytes and all that jazz. And I went and took a look at the map to take a look again at the wreckage and kind of just figure out, you know, if we're gonna make it there, if we're feeling all right, if we're feeling up for it. And it's a lot longer than I initially thought, distance wise and all that. So unfortunately, I think we're just gonna have to skip that for today. So I do apologize for that, but I hope that you enjoyed the rest of this. And you know, there definitely is tons of pictures online. There's a lot of video. There's probably a couple videos on YouTube about it by a couple other hiking YouTubers that are around here. So I definitely would encourage you to watch one of their videos. If I find one, I'll probably link that in the description as well for the hikeage. So hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna just get back to the car now. I'm just quite soaked from that mud puddle incident and the stream crossing, so I don't want to risk athlete's foot or anything like that. So I think we're gonna just call it and slowly make our way back to the car here. So all right, take care.